Hotel stuff of Reddit. How often do you catch people nude in the halls and what's your best story? NSW. The case of underwear man and the mysterious bathroom lady. I worked night audit at a hotel 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. On this night in particular we had a group of Native American construction workers who were excavating a site nearby for fossils. Anyways, into the night shift you normally don't get anybody coming down except to rummage through our little market for Oreos or other snacks. Well, around 2 a.m. I see someone standing in the market in just his underwear. For context, the back office is next to the market but you need a passcode to get through and we have cameras back there, hence why I was able to see him. So I opened the door and this guy looks completely out of it. Like 1,000 yards stare in just his underwear. Weirdly enough I don't smell weed or alcohol. He tells me he needs help getting into his room. That there's some crazy lady in there and he's afraid. I ask for some sort of in to confirm if he's guest. He tells me his name and other matching information. Sure enough, he's a guest in room 212. I make a copy of the key and then walk with him. But of course I ask him about the lady because according to our files there's no one else in the room. He confirms with me that it's just him. He tells me that a while ago he went to get ice in just his underwear, and when he returned to his room he saw a lady in the bathroom. He tells me that she attacked him and locked him out. Naturally I'm calling BS on all this, but just in case I got my cell phone ready to call 911. So we take the elevator and then walk over to 212. The guest looks mildly uncomfortable but I press on. The key card works and we get inside. Immediately I check the bathroom while the guest hasn't even stepped foot in the room. I check everything and I see no sign that anybody forced themselves in here. The guest looks confused but shrugs it off. Weirdly enough that was like a month into the job and this guest is a regular. I would see him most mornings and we never acknowledged what happened that night. Never acknowledged that I saw him in his underwear or that he looked like he was on something. Just everyday good morning Mr. M, and our conversations never went further than that. I used to work security at a large casino resort and we got a call at around 3 a.m. one night about a naked and frantic woman running down the halls of one of our hotel towers. So we go up there and sure enough find a woman bawling her eyes out completely nude. We got her a towel from the linen closet so she at least had something to cover up, and then she calmed down to tell us she had met a guy on the casino floor and went up to his room and he attempted to violate her and got all her clothes off and scratched her up pretty good, but she fought like heck and got out of the room. Needless to say the cops came and the guy was dragged out and justice was served. Oh, he had a black eye when we got him out of the room too. She whooped his butt. Holy crap, I'm glad she managed to escape. Creepy crap. Not a worker, but one time we had a bachelor party and rented a hotel for about 10 of us. One of our buddies got s-faced before it even got dark and we took him back to the hotel because he wasn't about to get in anywhere and kept complaining about being ready to go back. We dropped him off and proceeded to go on with our night. An hour or two later the hotel called one of our buddies whose name was on the room and told us we needed to get back because our buddy was laying in the hall outside our room naked. I'm not sure what happened, but he lost the room key and for whatever reason decided to get naked so he could go to sleep. The room key was in his pocket. I work for a very upscale trendy hotel and after every shift we get a detailed report from the front desk outlining every guest complaint or concern. We discuss the overnight report in the exec meeting each morning. This happened a little more than a year ago, but one evening, the overnight manager at the front desk, let's call him Bob, gets a visit from a very worried and scared guest in one of our top floors with a balcony. The guest says that he woke up to someone in his room and going through his stuff. When he turned on the light, the intruder rushed out via the balcony doors. Guest wants to call the police, so Bob decides to go back to the room with the guest and a security guard. The elevator doors open and two very naked and very high women, models H-party girls, stumble out asking Bob where they can score more drugs. Bob now has to handle the naked women and the scared guest and a potential intruder in the building. Bob decides to get the girls covered up with extra bellman's coats while he figures out what room they came from, and security goes up to the guest's room to check for intruders. Apparently the intruder was a seekhead from the shelter down the block and was able to Spiderman up the side of the building and up 7 stories. One of the girls jumps and sits on the front desk and proceeds to pee over the edge and onto the front desk's computers. The other passes out in the storage closet where we hold guests' luggage. I love working here sometimes. My uncle was the general manager of a resort up in Pennsylvania, and he told me a story about how a Little People convention came and had an event at the resort. The next day the honeymoon suite was vacant again, so they rented out to this newlywed couple. They weren't in the room but 10 or 15 minutes before screaming was heard. Turns out the night before there were 3 midgets staying in that room and they all got pretty trashed. So trashed that one of them got naked and the other 2 threw him up onto wardrobe cabinet. He didn't wake up to the cleaning lady and so they thought the room was empty. The married couple screamed because they saw a pair of eyes peek up above the wardrobe as they were consummating the marriage. It's not every day you go on your honeymoon to find a naked midget above your wardrobe. Holy crap guys, I didn't expect this to blow up. Thanks for the love. You'll have no idea how long I've waited to tell this story. Guess you gotta wait for the right questions to be asked, lol. This one wins. I generally see at least one naked person a month. To be fair, my hotel is in the nightclub area, so everyone is usually fairly intoxicated. I've had my elevator turn into a softcore piece studio on multiple occasions, but the one time that always stands above the rest is one time this guy was going down on this young lady. The elevator was still on the ground floor and someone entered the lobby. After greeting the guest, I ran out the back to watch the security camera. This young lady walked in on the other 2. He pulls his head out from under the girl's skirt, wipes his face and smiles. I'm rolling on the floor laughing my butt off. Other enjoyable one was this guy come to reception because he locked himself out of his room. He was completely naked. Normally people try to get my attention in some subtle way. The guy just walks down 4 flights of stairs, walks to the desk and casually says, "I left my key in my room." I hand him a new key and he goes to walk back up the stairs, sees a few girls looking at him from outside, gives them a wave and a pose, then proceeds back to his room. The level of I don't give a frick this guy had still impresses me. That second bloke sounds like it ain't his first time. Or frick, I did it again. Had 2 young, mid-20s ladies come to the front desk at about 2:30 am wrapped in towels asking if they could take a swim. I told them the pool closed at 10 PM. They dropped their towels and said, "How about now?" My reply, "Very nice, but you still can't use the pool. I still have the footage on VHS somewhere." "No, you'll want the towels." Been working in hotels for about 5 years now and have a couple of goodies. One was like 17 or 18, fresh in the industry working the minibar, so I have to check all rooms to see if they need anything. So I knock on this door like I do every day, knock 3 times loudly and no answer. I go to walk in the room and I see a man butt naked bumming another dude hard. Best thing about is they were so in the moment they didn't even notice me open the door, take a step in and hurry out again. 2 was doing nights on reception. My duty manager asked me to go for floor check because he was busy. Not a problem. Happy to stretch my legs. I noticed the pool lights were still on and door was open. Afternoon shift manager was meant to lock it at 9 PM. So I go in and I notice a naked lady sitting the edge of the spa pool with a man performing fellatio on her. I make myself known and they quickly jump back into the water. I suggested they continue in their room and pee myself laughing as they left in the lift. I then told my manager and we both had a good laugh. That footage is now saved in the golden moments file of the security footage. So many more, but those are my 2 favorites. Put myself through college working in hotels. For a good portion of that was the graveyard shift. We were hosting an annual meeting for the new sales employees for Bear Paint. They were always bags straight out of college who now thought they were hot crap because they had a corporate credit card. They also fricked each other's brains out the entire week. One notable couple fricked pretty much the entire night in one of our pool areas. I say area because over the course of the night they'd go from pool to deck chair, to hot tub, to pool deck, back to the pool, etc. I was mostly stuck behind the front desk, but periodically my graveyard security guy and graveyard engineer, maintenance guy, would pass through the lobby and give an update. They're freaking in a chair, or they're freaking at the edge of the hot tub. But they weren't making any noise and no one was complaining, so we didn't bother them. The more common wasn't necessarily seeing naked people but the working girls. The pattern was pretty common. First we'd get a call or two asking for directions. This was the 90s before smartphones or even MapQuest for that matter. Then she'd ask to be connected to a room. Then the same woman would call asking where to park. Then a woman would walk to the lobby wearing a long coat, freshly done full hair and makeup at 2 AM, and always carrying a big bag over her shoulder, and she'd ask where to find the same room number the caller asked to be connected to. Then at least 50% of the time, a guy would call from the same room asking where the ATM in the hotel was. Coincidentally, it was in the lobby with me, and either one or both of them would come down in robes or shorts and shirt. A bit later the woman would leave with the same coat and big bag. But again, no calls or complaints, so I didn't give a crap. Let consenting adults have their fun. I used to work in housekeeping. This doesn't really pertain to the title, but I wanted to share my story. Was in housekeeping for about a year while attending school. Guy checked out in the middle of the night. This hotel was small and didn't have many staff. So in the middle of the night, when housekeeping wasn't really needed, someone from housekeeping was stationed at the front desk. Anyway, the guy comes to check out and he's wobbling back and forth and burping whilst licking his teeth. I ask him the typical questions. How his stay was, etc. He said it was fine. He then leaned in real close to me, like uncomfortably close, and his breath smelled like frickin' pure crap. He goes, his voice fluctuating, "You might want to check out my room. Go ahead and keep my deposit." My heart drops and I die inside. For someone to say that up front at a hotel, you know you're about to walk into some bad crap. I don't really know what to say to the guy, so I just stay polite and tell him no worries. We'll try not to keep your deposit if we can help it. I get someone else to cover the desk and walk up to his room. Open the door and I have the stench of crap throttle me in the face and my eyes legitimately start watering. I flick on the light and there's crap all over the walls with happy faces drawn in them. Crap smeared all over the bed and the floor. Same with the bathroom mirror. I'm not sure if he pulled a GGL and ate his own crap, but it seemed like it from his breath. It's the duty of whoever is on to clean up messes as they happen. I was a college kid making less than $6 an hour. I knew I would probably get fired for not cleaning it up. There was nothing that would harm me in there, just a lot of crap. I said frick it, not worth, and told the person who filled in for me at the front desk that I quit and am going to go work for the bar down the street. Owner asked me to work for him several times. So I start up my bar job as a waiter for the restaurant soon after, and what do you frickin' know? The dude who smeared crap all over comes in and sits down at a table. I don't know what to think. It was like seeing a nightmare. I go over to his table and act like everything is cool and serve him. Sucker remembers me and just goes, "I see you work here. Did you leave the hotel?" I respond saying I did and just ask what he would like to order. He orders a beer and curly fries and gets up while the food is being made and goes to the bathroom. He leaves the bar after the bathroom. I go into the bathroom and there is a smiley face with crap on the mirror. I frickin' lose it and tell the manager to call the cops on this dude. Manager didn't think it was too much of a big deal and told me to just clean it up quick. In the end, I didn't escape his terror. That's awful, if true. If not, good story anyway. Not a hotel worker but pilot, so stay in a lot of hotels. One time springs to mind. A ride in Zurich. 2 pilots, 2 cabin crew. Everyone comes down for a beer or 3. Burger, beers, and eventually everyone heads off to their rooms. I promise this isn't a pilot shags crew story. BTW. After maybe 10 minutes in my room, head spinning slightly, I get up for that drunken pee that doesn't end. You know the one. Pee. Still need to pee. Try to pee. Drip drip. Still need to pee. Try to pee. Drip drip. Is this what it's like to be old? I've just resolved to put up with the discomfort and try and sleep when there's a knock at the door. I think I'm about to be greeted by a lovely crew member in a dressing gown and not much else. A guy can dream. I look through his spy hole in the door. Thud 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 hoomp thud thud thud. Naked man runs past. Okay, not what I was hoping for, but it's not me, so no harm no foul. I mentally wish him luck and turn around back to bed. Door knock. Spy hole. Hoomph. Naked man. I put the chain on the door and open it a crack. A voice calls out, tentatively "May Ike?" I reply, "Bruxy. It's my bloody captain. You want a towel?" Oh god yes. Turns out he did the same thing I did. Got up to go for a pee. Close the bathroom door behind him. Looked around and thought, crap me, there's a lot of doors in this bathroom frick. All he knew is that I was on the same floor as him, so he'd spent the last 10 minutes knocking on every door and running away hoping I'd answer. This guy flies jets for a living. Literally in charge of 100 lives and 70 pounds million worth of machine. He didn't work out that there were phones beside the lifts on every level. Pilots are smart at being pilots. They don't have to be smart at anything else. Didn't happen to me in a hotel but rather a hostel on a class trip years ago. I used to be a sleepwalker and it was quite the problem back then, as we had all had drinks, yeah, underage drinking. Now, I shared a room with a girl from my class. We had a nice night out, rambled about stuff for a good half hour and then we passed out. I don't know why or how, but I woke up on her bed the next morning and apparently this is what happened. I stood up, walked to the bathroom, couldn't figure out how the door worked so I gave up and laid back down, mumbled something, stood up again, tried one more time with the door, figured it out, went into the bathroom, stood there for about 10 minutes, came back, laid down, stood up again, tried to put my shirt on, went outside, came back in, shouted honey I am home, laid down in her bed and passed the frick out. She was a real bro about it and didn't make a scene or anything. She, as far as I know, didn't tell anyone either. I used to work front desk at a hotel that once a year hosted a swingers convention. We would rent out the top floor rooms to them and it was a free for all. They all kept their doors open and people would just run naked from one room to the next. We had cameras so easy enough to watch all the running around. The problem would come the morning if they requested a newspaper we would have to go up and deliver it to their door. Definitely saw many things. The worst thing with this was when we had a long-term person who refused to move rooms when the convention was coming. So in the middle of people running back and forth swapping was a little old priest. We got calls that night from the swingers complaining someone was praying loudly. This is, by far, the best punchline I have read in this thread. I work as receptionist. Once, it happened that there was an old man, around 65, and he was the only one here. We have just 6 rooms and it was low season, so not many people came. He went around the hotel all naked and, in the morning, breakfast time, he was sitting on the chair completely naked waiting for breakfast. Not a good view. Plus it happened once that there were 2 girls that went for breakfast just with a long white shirt and completely naked under it. He was sitting on the chair completely naked. I hope he at least put down a towel to sit on. Not that this has any bearing, but until recently it was legal to eat at restaurants in San Francisco in the nude. Some restaurants kept napkins, towels handy for placing on the seats of nude diners. Super VIP client and her girlfriend were staying in our hotel for a month and would randomly need food drink requests in the middle of the night. Myself, the other guard that works graveyards and managers were the only ones who would interact with them directly, as per their request. So as security guys would deliver their late night meals drinks requests. Said VIP and her GF would open the door naked, middle of the fricking session and accept the items. She would sometimes tips us, walking over to her cash and returning. No care that I could see her naked. Not staff, but I stayed in a Shore Stay Plus, basically a Best Western branded motel. Earlier this year when I flew to San Antonio to house hunt, I woke up in the middle of the night to the most god-awful shrieking ever, opened my door, looked down the hallway, and saw what I will politely call a half-naked, no pants or underwear on, plus-sized woman trying to squeeze out a crap onto the hallway carpet, recoiled in horror and returned to the safety of my room. But the shrieking went on for what felt like an eternity. No less than 5 minutes of this Snorlax trying to push out a painful crap, right there in the hallway. I will never understand what could compel someone to just crap in the hallway, but I really don't understand why someone would choose there, of all places, to meet their constipation head on. I asked the front desk if that was normal and they said yes. Still can't believe it. Big ol' San Antonio women. I don't work at a hotel, but I'm in the military. Occasionally when we are forced to travel to some random fort somewhere for training or whatever. When we do, sometimes we get lucky and are billeted in hotels. When we do, we are always assigned roommates, so the army can save money. And I guess this guy wanted to jack it but his roommate was in, so he goes to the staircase and is laying down in the middle of it. I walk in with freaking groceries and I just see him phone in one hand, dong in the other. Definitely passed that one up the chain of command. About 10 years ago, I was staying at a hostel in Copenhagen, and I had forgotten to set my alarm for the morning I had to check out. So I woke up late and really had to pee. So I put my key card in the waistband of my boxers and ran to the washroom just down the hall. Unfortunately, my card had expired and I was left stranded outside my room in just my boxers. Now, this hostel had 2 buildings. One for the rooms, and next door was the office. My only way to get to the office was to go outside on a very busy street at noon and walk next door. It took 5 seconds, but boy were those seconds ever long. As soon as I got inside, I started frantically explaining why I was in my boxers to the young woman at the desk. We ended up having a good laugh. Question for other hotel workers like myself. When someone comes down naked, obviously without ID, how do you verify you're giving the key to the right person? I usually give them the benefit of the doubt if they know the room number and name, but even that worries me, since that's not super hard info to find out, so any naked psycho could theoretically just ask me for a key to your room, and if he knows the room number and your name, I'll give it to him. I mean, I don't know what else I could do. I can't just follow them up there for confirmation, since I can't really leave the desk for any long period of time at night. I asked my manager, and he always said to do it like I had been. So, yeah, I know it's probably a really obtuse and not probable scenario, but I still think of the naked psycho killer every time I hand a key to a naked person. The last time this came up, a guy said he walked them back and asked for it at the room to verify. Worked for a year in a holiday luxury resort as a butler before moving to a front desk position. Rich people is not like normal people that I can tell. 1. We had to do lobby to room escorts whenever a guest came. I meet this couple and escorted them to the room, explaining all the facilities that we had. 2 minutes after I am done with that, I receive a call from my mates telling me that the guests that I've just escorted wanted to see me again. I then go to the room to find the smoking hot women in lingerie running for me to give me a hug while the man watches and smiles. Every time I went to that room to deliver something, the women was almost naked and keep hugging me for no reason whatsoever. 2. Had so many times that guests called us to deliver more bathroom amenities and greeted us on the door naked with that I beat you want but you won't look down look on their faces. Males and females. 3. One time that I was covering the night shift, I got called to deliver an ice bucket to one room. When I opened the door I found a guy in 3H. The guy was so drunk he told me to stay because he had paid for them but he could only take on one, so the remaining 2 were available if I wanted to. 4. The pool was open 24/7, and every once in a while when I was covering night, I'd get this couple running naked from their room to the pool, splash and go back upstairs. No towelettes, no anything. They thought they were ninjas, but in reality, we got cameras on the corridors and on the public arenas, and it is really easy to catch them as there is not much to do overnight. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.